we know already that they're pretty much similar. I want to go over the page on, listen, this is Karasatan. And he uses that word like, I see what they're talking about. The issue is that this is presented as just a name, like a name place. It's number 6, number 2. Number 2 is called by this name. I'm still famished, but Rabbi Mimran took me out of the way to tell me that this name, Karasatan, is also an outside name. That inside of each one of those letters is a malach. So because it's presented as if the words themselves have some significance, and he said a malach. So he said that the words themselves, so what does that mean? That means if you could get a hold of that malach, or you could understand it, I don't know, something like that. You're not allowed to say it. But the letters themselves, that was his argument. One second. Oh, I got the door closed. Okay, let's look at this pledge, which is kar, and he makes it kar, ash, tan. We know that there are 3 different sections of each one of them. Now, I thought it would be interesting, and looking back at this, just let me see something else. All right, well, in this section, okay, he has this section, which is part of Pesukei de Zimra, not Pesukei de Zimra, the Karbanos. Hey, at the very top of the page, it says, L'yira es Hashem. I don't know anything about what this is doing here. If we understand what that means. Shulchan David, David represents Malchus. I don't know anything else about it. Then it says Eved Hashem, and then maybe that means Elokim. I don't know. Just pointing it out. So then is the letter Hey, and then it has Ben, which is 52. Then it has El Kael Adni, which is 96. 96, just pointing it out because I'm really thinking that I'm not as afraid of the Rashash as I used to be. So therefore we could see some of the ideas because he goes into Partsufim, he takes a sphera out of the partsuf, then he shows that there's actually a partsuf inside of the sphera, and then he wants to go to a particular place, and then so we see all of that. The next thing it says we're going to go from the Gevura to Yitzira. So this is talking about day Sheni, the second day, tomorrow. The Gevura to Yitzira. So what is the Gevura of Yitzira? Olam Yitzira, there's a Gevura. From that Gevura of Yitzira, the Gevura, the Vahod, the Bina Desiyah. So it's going to go into the lower left line of the Bina of a Siyah. This is where Le Gevura Vahod, the Bina Desiyah. Then he has the Karasatan, let's say. He divides it up into 3 different parts. So this is going to be in every single one of these, the same idea. He says Kabel Rinas, which we're looking at the Rosh tables again. And I looked off also on the left side. They have the word with Rinas, which is a Lashon celebration. Sagvenu, I looked that up too. It all same idea. And then similar idea. And then Nora, which is what? Wondrous? Something like that. That's on the left side. The right side says Kabel, receive, Amecha, your people, Taharenu, so purify us. Let's go and read it inside and get it a little bit more. I think just looking at the Rashash and reading what he says and not being so frightened of it. So he says that the word Kabel, it refers to the Panimi, and then he shows us the Panimi, which is a Sag. And this is a formation that you see a lot in the Rashash. It has a meaning, which I don't know. Then he counts the 10 letters. But I'll suggest something. If you take the 63 and you add the 10 letters, you get the 73, which is one of the Rapach. So it's part of Sag. Sag can be made into a 73. So I don't know anything more about it. Then the next thing is Ma. So that's what we have on the left side, or the right side rather. And in the middle it says Rosh Tevas Gematria 92. Did we say what is 92? Gematria Sag, and it's 10 letters. and then the milui of ma. Okay, this is coming down. This is coming down. This is coming up. I don't know which way we're going. He said, "Megavura the Yitzira, the Gavura v'hod the bina d'asiya." So we're going into the bina d'asiya, and we're going to pull stuff up. I don't know if this is what's coming up or what's coming down. So he says, with all this, sounds like it's coming down, but I don't know. The next side is the same thing, same numbers, and so therefore it's a word sav. I think we learned about the word sav. I already forgot. The chasas baga de bina. So what are we going to try to do here? We're going to try to cover over the left line of bina. Now, why do we want to do that? We had an answer to that. It's because it shouldn't go so high. So he says to keep it from going that high. The gevura v'hod the bina. Once again, he says which line, which is the lower. Let's say the lower two either could be partsufim or spheros of bina. So we're working the left side. The next side says, and he says, Lachasas baga de bina. I just said that. The gevura v'hod de bina. Then it says, Amecha sagvenu. Roshi Tevos is the letters, makes the letter number 370. I'm not sure if it means anything in numbers-wise. The other one was 300. This one is 370. And the next one is 59. This doesn't necessarily mean anything to me, so I'll just keep going on. So he says, when you say Amecha, once again, he shows you the Panimi. Now, I think, he shows it too as letters. So I've been thinking lately that Olam Atzila, but we're talking about Olam Yetzira. But he says the Olam Atzilus, I think, is all letters. That's what it is, I think. So here we have letters again. The Panimi is what? Once again, Sag. It's a combination of Sag and Ma. So then the next one is what? That is Sagvenu. He says is the Makif is Yud K Vav K, like that. Yud K Vav K. Yud K Vav K. Okay, so which is, we have Sag and you have Ma, the combination of the two. Let's see what he says. He says the Roshi table is a gematria Ryo. Gematria Ryo. The gematria Sag Ma. He said Kamisbar Chok. So we had that word before, Chok Pamim. So he said Pamayim Chok, twice Chok, is gematria Ryo. Let me read it again so I could try to understand it. In this phrase it says V'shtayim Yachase Raglov. So now you're covering over the feet so that it shouldn't go down too far. Roshi Tevos is gematria Ryo. How do you get that? He says gematria, and the Ryo is a gematria of Sag and Ma. What does Sag and Ma make? They make this word Chok. To double Chok, why we double it, I don't know, but he says, and you get to Ryo again. So Ryo, we had said before, is related to, I just realized, not thinking about it, the whole parsha we just read was Vayera. And he gave us, it doesn't necessarily apply, but maybe it does. Vayera refers to Ryo. So I'm not sure. Maybe it's to say, don't make more out of this than what the story says. I'm not sure what it means. So you take this idea and the chasav bagada hod, so you cover over the left line of hod. So he went into hod, and hod has 10 spheros, or has a partzif within it, and he took the left line of that. The gevura of a hod, the bina, back to bina again. And we're taking the two lower partsufim of Gevura and Hod. That's where it's coming from. That's where it's coming from. Now then it says Ta'arenu, and he shows you, this is interesting, it's just Elokim, just by itself. Now, I don't know what to do with these letters. Like I said, I thought that from Atzilus, you would have letters, but I guess that's what you have also in Yetzirah. So the Panimi, it represents Elokim, it's Lashon Din. And then it says, V'shtaim Ya'ofef, and then he takes the word Ya'ofef and he cuts it up. Ya'o, the first three letters are the gematria Elokim, and there it is over there. So he said the last two letters of Paf, Imakolel, comes the Kasef. So offhand, I don't know the relationship between these two. Elokim, it refers to an aspect of, I thought, of Bina. Says that dinim misari minah. And then the last part is Kasa, which is also an aspect of Bina. I never really figured out exactly the difference between Sag and Kasa, but I just thought that Kasa is the Penemius, but I'm not sure. But at any rate, is Elokim, Paf, Imakolel comes to Kasa. So you have these two things, Elokim and Kasa. What do they do together? I don't know. So once again, so we said then we have the word Nora, which represents the Makif. So you have these two ideas. So we have all the lights. What's the purpose of this? The purpose is L'ofef Babaga de Gevura, to fly on the left side of Gevura. What is it? To lift it up. This is the real lifting it up into Olam Yitzira. So we're taking that Gevura, the Gevura Vaho, the Bina. The parts of, I don't know whether he means each individual parts of, but I think there's a parts of called Gevura de Bahod. I think that's more likely, but I don't know for sure. Let me bring this down a little bit more. So he said, V'la'alos kol klalos baga. So the idea is like this, to elevate all of the baga, the Gevura Vahod. I think he means of Bina, which he said before, of Asiya. The halbish baga the Chabad, and to bring it up to the top of the Chabad, the Malchus the Yitzira, to the top part of the Malchus of Yitzira. So Sheba Os Kuf. Now I noticed in the other one, the previous one, I'm sorry, let's see, let me get this out. Sheba Os Kuf. Let me read. The halbish baga the Chabad, the Malchus the Yitzira. And he says this place, which is called the Chabad de Malchus, which is the top part of Malchus, the Yitzira, in that place he says the Sheba Os Kuf. Now, if you look at the bottom, if you switch to the other one, the previous, which is Avge, you see that there's a Shin at the bottom. So he says that the different places, said the Shin is on the right side. That would be the Chabad, the Malchus, the Yitzira, would be the Chabad part of the Malchus. They're going to the Chen, which is the right line of the Chabad of the Malchus, the Yitzira, and there you find the letter Shin. I don't know if you find it, or what you trying to say about it. Over here, in the second day, you're dealing with the letter Kuf. And the letter Kuf, combined with these two letters, then as you look through the rest of them, you'll see that they spell the name for Malchus, which is Shakots. And so we've seen some other things there. I try to do it when I go to shul. I try to do that. Okay, in other words, on Shabbos, we learn something about Shabbos when you come into the first, at first you say the first two letters of Shak, and then you say the next two letters when you come to what would be Shachris, that would be at nighttime. And then eventually you make a shlemus in the name Shakots. Okay, so let's go over here now, and let me see if I find a place. Seder Hakavanot B'Leil Yom Bet, which is on page Reish Lamed Tes. How are we doing time-wise here? Okay, not that much time. Here we go. We're going to go on Seder Hakavanot B'Leil Yom Bet. He said, B'Leil, let me see if I find it. Where is it? Samach Tes. Where's Samach Tes? Down at the bottom. So Uvaleil Sheni Shel Shavua. Let's go to the second day of the Shavua. The Asach HaSeder HaNizkar Mamash. You do exactly the same thing that we said before. Aval HaHefresh Hu She'ikar Kuvanasu Tihiyah B'Shem HaSheni be the second name, which is Kara. HaSholat B'Yom HaSheni, which has a Shlita on the second day. Shehu Gevura. Chilif Hashem Harishon Shehoya Sholet B'Yom HaRishon. Let me just interrupt. I'm sorry, because I'll forget to ask you this. There's a sofer. The guy is the principal of the Beis Yaakov. I don't know where it is, but there's a Beis Yaakov the girls go to around here. And he's a young man. He's a sofer also. And so he has an interest in letters. So particularly, he found out that, or he knows that the name, you move all the letters of Yud Kei Vav Vei to the left, and you get this name, what would be Koz. So he says, yeah, you know this?
Because the mezuzah in the back has that.
So he's questioning me, what do I know about this? Well, I know it's move one letter to the left. He says left is Lashon Din. So he wants me to look it up and see if I can find it. I don't know if you know, I think we just saw it recently in the Hakavanot on Rosh Hashanah, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what we saw. If you could find a cipher reference, I could maybe help him out a little bit just to try. He doesn't know, he's a straight guy. He doesn't know any sod, but he's interested in the letters. So he never, so if we can find it, I got a lot of, huh?
One place I remember talking about is in the Bein HaMetzarim, there's a Kavanah.
There you go.
For brachos. So the first one is the letter before.
Right.
And then the second one is that one.
So it's Bein HaMetzarim. Okay, so I could look over there.
So
maybe they'll give us an elucidation to give him an idea. His question is what's it doing? So he assumes that since it's Lashon Din, that this must be some kind of protection. Or, we have the concept of where the chesed in the highest possible places could also work against din, to suppress the din at say, like an Eric Ampen or something like that. I don't know. All right, let's go on to the TIV Hakavanot. So he said, Belel Yom Sheni, Shel Shavua, Motzi Yom Rishon, which is after the first day. Seder Hakavanot hu mamish kabiyom rishon. So what you're actually thinking is you're covering your eyes, you're covering your feet, and you're flying. El Shabaseder Hakavanot the shemos mab. Well, when you get to the name mab, you kaven es Hashem Hasheni the fisha yom sheni hu b'sfiras hagavura, because now you're going to be dealing with the shlita of the concept of gavura on that day. So nimsa she'achar shesayim atfilas ana b'koach. So it comes out that after you finish that, yachzor l'kaven bepratos b'shem, this name Kara. I'll just call it the first name of it. Just besod b'shnayim yachased panav, which is the secret of the concept of covering the face, which we have an answer on that now. Kanizker le'el mamish, as we mentioned up above. B'shar Hashem is kolulim, both, and all of the names are incorporated in this. Gam yikavi bepratos el oshnia, the second letter too, sheb'shem ben mab debria. V'gam el Hashem hasheni hayotze b'meno, and the second name that goes out from it. Now, what's he talking about? B'kach seder hagavana b'yom sheni la'achar shesayim lomer kol tfilas ana b'koach. So he said, now wait. After you finish the Ana B'Koach, now again we mentioned, so I've been trying to work on this, and it turns out that the Chabad and the Nusach Sfard and Nusach Ashkenaz all have a version of this, but they're slightly different. So, but here we have an explanation which is only in the Sfard, so which is what I'm using. V'kach seder hagavana b'yom sheni la'achar shesayim lomer kol tefilas ana b'koach. Now you said the whole ana b'koach on the second night. Yachzor lomer od shlosha pamim, and this is the instruction that's in the Rashash Seder, or on Sfardi rather. You go say it 3 more times. But what part do you say? Esachelik hasheni, that part that is, you're going to say the second portion for Gevura, which is Kabel Rina, Samachasag Venetar Renonora, Bapam Rishon. Now, he says like this. This is something I've missed. Bapam Rishon, the first time you say it, Yikaven Es Aliyah's Navsho, you should have in mind here, for the Aliyah of Ma'asiyah Liyitzira B'Koich Shem Kara. V'Yikaven Sheshtei Osius Arishonos. So now you have this kavana that the 2 first letters, yachas, with using, what does he mean? Using those 2 letters, you use it the yachas panav shel nafsho, of his nefesh. So he points that out because I guess he wants us to know that this is not talking about the entire neshama. This is talking about an aspect, which is a low aspect, which is associated, more physical, which is associated with Asiya. Then he says, V'shtayim acheros, and they take the next two letters, Yechasem raglav shel nafsho, again, of the person you're trying to lift your nefesh up, because you're going to sleep. Your body's going on to, a kiss to the chiyas, or something very, very basic. Shel nafsho. V'shtayim achronas to ofef nafsho lamalo, so you'll use that to be able to to actually fly it up. Now that's the 3 times that you're going to say this, or this is the first time? No, that's the first time. That's the first time. The first time is you're working on your nefesh, and you're going to try to bring it up. But now you say this a second time. La'alo says, nafshim v'rucho miyitzira the bria. What does that look like? You do this, bekoech shemos mab, the bria. What are those names? Well, I didn't really get a good understanding of this, but it's not an easy thing to understand. Shem Ekye Yaakov, which is the number 42. So that 42, but there's 2 42s. That's a part of understand. There's 2 42s. And you use, I think in our drawing that we submitted previously on this, which is talking about Erev Shabbos, but at any rate, it didn't show the second one, the Ekya, because Ekya is also 42. But I don't need to really know the meanings of these or what they do, but he's not telling us to understand it. Rabbi Memram said, don't ask why. But how, or a little more detail, but at any rate, this is the 42 for Bria. V'yakav bepratos es ha'osa shnia de ekye Yaakov. Take the second letter, which is Aleph and K, or is that what he means? V'es Hashem de margola, and then there's a margola that comes out of Yotze b'menu, shuhu, and it looks like this is an Havaya, Manuka Elokim. V'chein yikaven es aliyah ha'shlishit, and so also this third aliyah, Shal Nafsha v'rucha v'nishmas v'briya l'tzilus. You're going to go, this is also the name of 42. It's the Pasha to Male, and the Male comes out to 42. So I guess if we learn more, we'll see the significance of that. But koach shem mabda tzila. But basically, I think that what he's saying over here is do this. Have the kavanah. May not understand the kavanah. So exactly what it's accomplishing. But he says that, do you have 3 times to say that? Okay, I see that's in the Sfardi. So in the Sfardi it says 3 times say that. Elo the fisha b'shem zecha be'ein shinui beim yom l'chavera. But in this name, there's no difference between one day and the next. To say the kavanah is called a yomim shava lo chosu l'va'ero. I don't think I understood that one part. Elo the fisha b'shem zeh, which is the name Korah, Ein Shinui Beim Yom L'Chavera. There's no real difference between one day and the next. I don't really got that. I'm missing something here. To say the Kavanah Kol Yomim Shava, so it comes out that the way that the order of this goes up, they cover the eyes, cover the feet, and then fly. Lo Chozer the Va'ara is not going back, and he's not going to explain it anymore. So let me see if we're almost okay. We have very little time. Let's stop here on Naim Ayin Hey. I think it goes slightly different. And here we go, this.